Then we'll put it on automation and it will work the minute you make it live. And the greatest thing is if you follow my course, if you do modules 1 through 4 and you do a few live webinars, by the time we get to automation, it's just a few little tweaks that you have to do to make it work on automation, or to make it work in terms of making it automated. So just a few little tweaks and we can get it going. So that's kind of what I love. And I've never, ever, ever known an internet marketer that was wildly successful on webinars that started with automation and never did live. Don't let them tell you if they have, because I will not believe them. You gotta at least work out the live a little bit. So how many weeks is the course? So the great thing is it's done. It's as many weeks as you want it to be. It could be just this weekend if you dive in and you go for total immersion and go through the whole course. It's 5 modules. Each module has around 4 to 5 videos in it. Most of them are around 20 minutes, but some people have already gone through the course and now they're implementing. Other people want to take their time. I always say if you're super busy, give yourself a good 30 days to go through the program, maybe a few hours each week, start implementing, and then you can get that first webinar up and running in 30 days if you're busy and you don't want to totally commit to hours of videos each day. Great question. How do you use retargeting pixels on Facebook to get, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry to that person. You did it twice and it just went too fast. I couldn't get to it. Let's see here. I swear Periscope needs to fix the question thing. Is this any of your other, or something about my other courses, but I don't know what that question means. Someone says, post again. I know, crazy stuff, right? Okay, so the questions are coming in, my comments are coming in slow where they rush in, and then here we go. Do you need to already have something to sell for webinars that convert? Awesome question. So I think that was Kelly, and thanks for asking it. So you actually don't. Now, you do need to have a really solid idea in terms of what you want to teach. Because in the program, I say if you already have an online course, program, or product that you want to sell online, you're golden. And if it's already sold in other ways and you want to create a webinar for it, you're well on your way. But let's say you don't have an online course or program or product yet. What you can do, and I teach this in the course, I talk about different options, but one of my favorite options is to create a live workshop. You sell it on the webinar and you deliver it for, let's say, 6 weeks after the webinar. And this is exactly what I did with my first thing that I sold on a webinar. I hadn't had it created yet when I sold it. So if you need a kick in the butt to get your product done, and you've been working on it forever and ever, then one of the best things that you can do is you can actually sell it live on a webinar, and then you have to deliver. So basically you're going to say, school starts on such and such date, and that's your first module, and you deliver it live like a webinar, but to a paid audience now. And each week you deliver it. At the end of the 6 weeks, guess what? You have an online training course that you can resell now. So if you need a kick in the butt, that's the way to go. Well, courses help me, oh my gosh, it goes so fast. How do you use retargeting pixels on Facebook to get those that don't reach your thank you page but visit your reg page? Hallelujah, we got it. Okay, so here's the question. I'm going to repeat it real fast. This is a good lesson for everyone. I feel like I've got the biggest head in the world today. So here's the question. How do you retarget somebody if they come to your registration page for webinars but they never reach your thank you page, so they didn't sign up? Because if someone comes to your registration page, they don't opt in, they're never going to reach your thank you page. So how do you use Facebook conversion tracking pixels for, or no, let's start over. We're using custom audience pixels. So that's the first thing you need to know. Custom audience pixels. And we're going to put the pixel on the reg page and the thank you page. And then we're going to set up a rule inside of Facebook, and we're going to say, if somebody visits my registration page, but they never hit my thank you page, show them this ad. Because it's getting in front of them again saying, hey, I've got a webinar, make sure to sign up. You know they were interested at one point and they didn't sign up yet. So that's what you do. You put the custom audience pixel on both pages, but you say, build me an audience, Facebook, of people that visit this page, but they never get to this page. And then you can show your ads to just those people. It's the coolest thing, and yes, I do teach it inside of webinars that convert. So I'm best known for Facebook marketing. And so I can't help myself but teach it inside any course I do. So inside Webinars That Convert, there's an hour-long video all about Facebook ad targeting, Facebook ad images, and Facebook copy. And in addition to that, how to set up an ad step by step inside the Power Editor. So with ads, I got you covered. Okay. You can't use the Pixel without a privacy policy, right? So yes, you want a privacy policy at the end of your registration page. If you go to, let's see here. I was thinking where I might have one, but if you ever go to one of my registration pages, at the bottom there's a privacy policy, and you can click on it, and it's just, you can kind of steal that copy and make it your own, the privacy policy. You do want to link to one at the bottom of your registration pages. Okay, so let's see what else we had. Like I said, the comments flood in and then they don't. What if I don't have an email list? Great question. So one of the things that a lot of people that join my programs, they are just starting out in terms of growing their list and getting their name out there. So one thing that webinars do, I always say like the biggest thing webinars do is that they grow your email list. So I didn't have a list when I first started doing webinars. And so what I did is I promoted webinars with Facebook ads. And what happens is when someone registers for one of your webinars, I show you inside the program how to link that to your email service provider. So someone joins a webinar, and then I'm a little bit Italian today and talking with my hands, I can't help it, but someone joins your webinar, and I also show you how to get them on your list at the same time. Now you're growing your list with everybody that registers for your webinar. And what that does is if they don't buy on your webinar, that's okay, because now we can nurture that audience on your list. So next time you promote, you have a built-in audience. So that's a really cool thing. So webinars will help you grow your email list if you're open to running Facebook ads. Another thing is inside the program, I teach you how to use your blog content in order to start growing your list quickly before you even start promoting your first webinar. And the cool thing about that is that you can grow this audience with free content, and then when you're ready to market your webinar, you have people to market to. So I teach you how to do that in the program. Where do you go on the web to start a landing page? So one of my favorite tools is lead pages. So if you want to have a landing page where people opt in, let's say for a webinar, lead pages is my tool of choice. So inside the program, I teach you how to use lead pages to set up a registration page. So one of my favorites. Thanks everyone for helping out, putting that in the chat there. Okay, so we'll do a few more questions. Let's see here. How can I target small business owners with Facebook ads without targeting other Facebook pages? Well, one thing you can do is you actually can target, well, let's back up. One of the things that I think is really important is to target other Facebook pages. Like, I'm not sure why you wouldn't want to target other Facebook pages with your ads. I think it's one of the most powerful ways to target. But you might be stuck because you might be thinking, I can't get in front of those people. I can't target certain Facebook pages. But what I want to kind of encourage you to do is find the bigger Facebook pages that are already attracting small businesses like HubSpot or maybe some popular magazines like Fast Company or whatnot. And from there, you can target small businesses. But the way you do it in your ads is you actually say, attention small business owners. So I like ads where you're actually calling out your audience. When you're targeting other Facebook pages, the sure way to attract the right person is calling them out in your ads. And then what I like to do is ask an obvious question. So in your ad, you might say, attention small business owners, have you ever struggled with your bookkeeping? And is it something that you want to throw out the window? And then you maybe are doing a webinar about bookkeeping or whatever it is. So calling them out and then asking an obvious yes question in an ad is a great way to grab their attention. Let's see here. Let's see. How do you transition a webinar attendees to the sales page for a product at the end of a webinar? Ooh, that's a good question. So one of the things I love to do is to make sure that, or one of the things I teach, and this is really important, so anyone that ever has struggled between teaching content and selling in a webinar, tell me if that's you. Either give me some hearts or say yes in the comments. Have you ever felt a little bit uncomfortable going from free webinar to actually selling on a webinar? Okay, so let's see here. I already got a few yeses. Awesome. Okay, so this is a good topic. So let's talk about this. When the first way to get past feeling really, really nervous or uncertain about that transition is to make sure that you choose a topic that is completely aligned with whatever you plan to sell. So one way to do that is that you create a webinar where the next logical step after what you teach them on the webinar is your product, your program, your service. And I always say the webinar is the why. So why they should do what you want them to do. Why is it important? How will it benefit them? What's the why? That's your webinar. And you can do a little how-to in there. I always do. But I make it important. And when I teach, why you need to know this, why it's important for your business, why you need to apply it right away. So the webinar is the why, and then your product is the how. So how do you do it? So once you set it up that way, you've got a really easy transition now. So that's going to help you immensely. The why and the how. Your product is the next logical step. Now, I also like to sprinkle in a little how-to in my webinars so they see how to apply it, so they see it come alive during the webinar. Your job is to entertain, educate, and empower during a webinar. Educate, entertain, and empower. So you want to make it fun. You want to get them excited with the why. That's the empowering. And when you educate, you could throw in a little how-to. Now, when you transition into the selling, it's a really, really seamless transition when you have a few slides in there that help you do just that. So one of the slides I like to use, and I teach this in the program, in Module 1, Lesson 6, for those of you already in the program that haven't gotten there yet, I teach you 21 magical slides that you need in every single presentation. And one of those slides is the what you're going to create, and then another magical slide is what you get. And so when you have a slide that says what you're going to create and what you're going to get, when you transition from content to selling, one of the things I say is, remember, everything I just taught you here is not theory. I've used it in my business. I've taught it to my students. We've seen amazing results. And we're not extra special. This is something that you can apply as well. And I want to invite you into my program. And so you invite them, you tell them the title, and then the very next thing you do is you give a one-sentence, powerful sentence about what it is that you're giving them. So what it is your product is. So if I were to do this for webinars that convert, I'd say, I want to invite you into webinars that convert. The A to Z blueprint that takes you behind the scenes with me inside of my business and shows you every single thing from start to finish of how you can create a webinar system in your business and create a 5-figure webinar in 30 days. So all of you need that one sentence. What does your product promise? And that's what you want to use when you transition into free content and to inviting them into the next logical step, which is your program. And then from there, the next one I want you to give them, the next slide I want you to show them is what you will create. And be very specific. So for me, I'll say, here's what you'll create. You'll create a webinar topic that's irresistible and your audience cannot pass up. You'll create a Facebook ad campaign that will fill up your webinar quickly. You'll create a registration page that is irresistible and you will get signups every single day. You'll create a webinar presentation that seamlessly transitions you from free content to your paid program. And you'll create a follow-up sequence that will double your webinar profits after the webinar. And then we're going to take it all and we're going to put it on automation. So that's what you will create in the program. And then the next slide I show people is what you get. And that's the slide where you say you'll get 5 videos or 2 cheat sheets or everything's downloadable or it's all online, whatever they need to know. That's the features. But what you will create is the benefits. So make sure you have those slides. Let me just real fast go over them with you one more time. You're going to have a slide that says, I want to introduce you to my program, and it's going to show the title of your program. And the very next slide is that one-sentence, power-packed sentence of what your program is. And then the next slide can be what you will create, and the next slide then is what you will get. And then from there you can talk about price and options there and everything like that. But that's a really good, easy transition. Again, I get into even more detail inside my program, but I wanted to give you some good stuff here just in case you didn't join the program. You can still walk away today with something good. Okay, so let's go for a few more. How do you target people from a similar Facebook page to your Facebook ads? I can't find it in Power Editor. Okay, so under interest, so when you're inside the Power Editor, you're setting up your ad set. Under audience, you go into audience, and where it says interest, you're going to type in the name of a Facebook page, and that's how you target other Facebook pages with your ads. So it's underneath ad set, and then you go into audience, and then you're going to look for interest. Great question. Thanks so much for all the value. Well, you're so welcome. I'm happy to do this. Let's see here. Use the Chrome browser for Power Editor. You are right about that, little missy. So important. Is it okay to do webinars without slides? Or are they vital to webinar success? Ooh, that is a great question. So you could do a webinar where it's just all direct to camera like this. I think it's going to be really hard to keep someone's attention for 60 minutes when all they do is see your face like this. Like, this is great for Periscope, and we're going to talk for 20 minutes or so, and then I jump off, and you don't have to look at my face anymore. However, when I'm teaching something, I want to show you examples. I want to show you testimonials from other people. I want to show you exactly what I do, or successes I've had, or problems that I've overcome. I want to show you in terms of graphs and numbers and screen grabs. And so I feel like every webinar needs slides. Not every minute of the webinar, but you definitely want to include some slides in that webinar. I think that is very, very important. One thing I like to do is actually take screen grabs. So I'll take screen grabs of emails I use in my business so you can see them on screen, or show pictures of my family and tell a story about how my business got started. So showing you just seeing me right now talking about it versus seeing a picture of Hobie, my husband, and Cade, my son, and maybe where I was 5 years ago, that to me is more powerful. So I say slides are important. Okay, let's see here. So let's see, what do you use your VA for? Oh, these are such good questions. You guys are smarty pants today. Thanks for the great questions. It makes it so much more fun. So here's what I use my VA for, and then I'm going to tell you a little bit more about why that's so valuable. I always say that your VA on a live webinar should wear 4 hats. I know that sounds like a lot. I'm a little bit, I might be pushing my VA a little much, you might think, but I'm not. So let me tell you. The first thing is I like to have my VA on Skype during a live webinar. So I'll have like my phone that has Skype on it. So when I'm doing a live webinar, the only thing I'm seeing are the slides. I'm not seeing the chat on that screen. And then I have another computer where I'm seeing the chat so I can see what people are saying when I ask questions. But I don't look at the chat unless I ask a question. One of the worst things people do on a webinar is while they're teaching, they're looking at a chat and you can't see what people are asking on chat. And so this is what it sounds like. Oh, yeah, John. I totally agree with you, John. Yeah. Oh, I don't know, Sally. Yeah, I'm not sure. Oh, okay, Kevin. Sounds good. And people on the other end are like, what are you saying, crazy lady? Like, what are you talking about? So if you're on a webinar, repeat the question if you're answering someone's question in chat, because not everyone is seeing what you're seeing. That's one thing. But back to the VA, I got off on a tangent there. With the VA, they wear 4 hats. The first hat, and Travinia is my VA, and the first hat she wears is she's on Skype. So if there's any technical problems, she will Skype me the minute there's a problem. The reason why that's so important is I don't worry about any technical challenges unless Travinia tells me there is one. So throughout the whole thing, I'm not thinking, can they hear me? Can they see my slides? They can, because Travinia is checking that. The second thing is that Travinia will be in the chat just troubleshooting with people. If they can't hear me or if they can't see my slides, it's usually if 1 or 2 people say it, it's on their end, not mine. So she'll help them. So she's in the chat and she's asking questions that she doesn't want to save for the Q&A for me, but they can be answered right away. Like, what tool is Amy using right now for her webinar? She'll just answer it right away. In addition to that, the other hat that she wears is when I start to actually sell, she's going to tell me the people that just bought. She's going to type their name into Skype. She's going to say, okay, so-and-so just bought, so you can give them a shout out on the webinar, which is always powerful to say hello to your brand new members. And then another thing she does is she makes sure that it is actually getting recorded. And so I don't have to worry about the webinar getting recorded. Travinia's got that hat on. She's going to make sure that it's all taken care of. So those roles are so very important. It can be just one person. My very first webinar, I had my best girlfriend, Gina. She used to work with me at Tony Robbins. She came over and sat next to me. Both of us had no idea what we were doing, but it just felt good to have someone that cared about me sit next to me, and I couldn't afford a VA at the time. So she was just sitting right next to me, practically holding my hand, getting me through my first webinar. So if you can't afford a VA in the beginning, get someone to kind of be your sidekick. In the program, for those of you already in the program, Module 3, Lesson number 2, I think it is, it's how to turn a VA into a stealthy sidekick during a live webinar. And I want you to let your VA watch that video. So I allow VAs to come inside the program if you purchase the program, and I want your VA to watch that one because there's a cheat sheet. I kind of do some amazing cheat sheets. So there's a cheat sheet for your VA to make sure that they're doing all the stuff they need to do in advance and then all the stuff during the live webinar. So I've got you covered on the VA support. Okay, so let's see here. Give hearts if you want to know, how do I know if WTC is right for me? Oh, okay, so how do you know? I don't know who just wrote that, but you're cracking me up. Was that someone on my team, or is that just a great person in Periscope? So the question is, you have to give hearts if you want to know, is webinars that convert right for me? Okay, so let's talk about that. I like the hearts. This is awesome. I hear ya. I hear ya through your hearts. If you have something to sell already, and by something I mean an online training program, course, or product, and so you already have it, you've been selling it in other ways, and you're looking to make more money online, so you want to sell more online, then Webinars That Convert is right for you. If you have a really good idea as to what you want to sell, and you're open to maybe doing a live workshop for the first thing you sell in a webinar, and you deliver it after the live webinar, then Webinars That Convert could be right for you as well. Now, also, if you're already working about 20 hours a week in your business, so let's say you're in a 9-to-5, and at nighttime, you're working on stuff, and you have no idea what you want to sell yet, you're not really sure what your business is going to be, but you've been blogging a little bit, then you're probably not right for the program just yet. For you, I'd suggest that you really focus on list building. So next month, my entire theme is all about growing your email list, so we'll get into more of that on Periscope. But if you already know what you want to sell and you want to use webinars to grow your list, and you're willing to go through my program and do the system, I mean, it's a full system, and you enjoy going behind the scenes of someone else's business, then Webinars That Convert can be right for you, because I give you my swipe file. So if you want to see the emails that I send to my audience to invite them on a webinar, if you want to see the emails I send after a webinar, I've included all of that. If you want to see how I do automated webinars, I've included swipe file for that. So if you enjoy going behind someone's business and seeing how it's done, then you're right for the program. Let's talk about who is not right for the program. So if you're just getting started and you have no idea how you plan to sell anything online, probably not perfect for you, probably not the perfect program just yet. You want to come to the table with a solid understanding of how online marketing works and what you could sell. I think that's really important. You do not need to have an email list in order for webinars to work. You do need to be willing to invest some money into Facebook ads if you have 0 people on your list. So I can't work magic. I mean, the program's pretty magical, but I cannot work magic if you have 0 people on your email list and you're not willing to experiment with Facebook ads, even let's say $10 a day for 7 days, I think would be the minimum I'd suggest, then probably not the right time right now for Webinars That Convert. I'm really looking for people that are ready to jump in right away. They want to be my next big case study so I can brag about you all over the web. And you feel that once you know what to do, you'll run with it. If you're one of those go-getters that you feel like, Amy, I just want to be told what to do and how to do it, and then I will do it. But I can't figure this all out on my own, I'm your girl. That's what I'm best known for, that step-by-step taking you through. So you can go to amyporterfield.com/WTC for webinars that convert, WTC. Okay, let's answer some more questions. Do you think podcasts are a great platform and why? Can it work with webinars? Yes. So 2 things I'm going to talk to you when it comes to podcasts and webinars. The first thing is, when I'm going to do a big webinar, I always, a week in advance, have a podcast that comes out where I talk about something, one piece of that webinar. So I teach something on the podcast, and then I invite people to the webinar. So it will run for a full week where people can sign up for the webinar. And so my podcast has become a really valuable part of webinar registration. Here's another thing. Because I podcast every week, I've grown a really big audience, and I've been doing it for a few years now. That audience is really receptive to when I have a new webinar. So not only has my podcast grown my email list, but I get a lot more people to sign up for webinars now that I have a built-in audience on my podcast. The other thing is, we don't talk a lot about affiliate marketing inside webinars that convert. However, my good friend John Lee Dumas does a really cool thing where if he's going to promote somebody on a webinar, he first gets them on his podcast and he interviews them. Then he tells people on the podcast about the webinar he's doing, and then he emails his list about this webinar he's going to host with someone else, an affiliate. And he just crushes it like gangbusters. So podcasts and webinars go hand in hand. Great question. I love that. Let's see here. Something about it goes too fast. And if you're talking about Periscope, I hear ya. Let's see here. Just podcast first or webinar first? I would podcast. So let's see. If you're asking, should I build a podcast or should I do a webinar first? That's a hard one. That's more of a preference thing, because a podcast isn't going to allow you to generate revenue quickly, where a podcast definitely could. So if you're looking to generate revenue quickly and grow your email list, I'd probably start with webinars. So that's a great question. Okay, so let's see. Let's just take a few more questions and then we'll hop off. Also, I'm curious. Okay, we'll take a few questions and I have one more question before we jump off. Let's see here. What support is there for webinars that convert? Oh, great question. So we have a private Facebook group. I jump in there regularly each week, and then my team jumps in there as well, and then everyone's there to support each other. So if you're already in the program, maybe tell me what you think about that private Facebook group. It's kind of been amazing. People share their ideas for their webinar topics. They ask for feedback about their webinar topics. There's so much great conversation about people in that group. So yeah, you've got the private Facebook group, and that's your main support. Do you recommend finishing Profit Lab before starting webinars that convert? I think if you're in my Profit Lab program, yeah, I'd finish Profit Lab and then move on to webinars that convert. I love the Facebook group. Great. I was hoping I'd see a few of those. Yeah, the Facebook group for webinars that convert is pretty awesome. What's the price of your webinar program? So the webinar program that is open until Monday, so this is the final Periscope I'll do about it, it is $9.97, or we have a 12 pay. So I haven't done a 12 pay in a long time. So you pay $97 today. For the next 11 months, you pay $97, and so you get started and everything is available now. So I don't hold anything back if you do the 12 pay, so you can get started right away. Let's see here. I'm looking. Travinia, shout out to you. I didn't know you were on here. Ethan says, I'm thinking a private Facebook group for the course I'm working on. Oh, yes. So I love the idea of private Facebook groups for any course that we create. I think it creates amazing community and allows people to know, like, look, I'm here for you. I'm not just going to ditch you when I put the program out there. You might get stuck along the way. I also learn a lot. I'm like sweating, guys. It's hot in here. I also learn a lot through my Facebook group. So if someone's like having a problem with something and I see it all the time, I make a tech video about it. Or if people are really concerned about this or that and they're not getting the results they want, I talk about it. So recently I made a video inside my private Facebook group about what it feels like to do your first webinar if you don't hit 5 figures and what to do about that. So I'm always responding to kind of like the greater good of the group. The private Facebook group does not expire, so you get lifetime access into webinars that convert, and you get access into the private Facebook group. Let's see here. Does the money back, something about the money back guarantee. Ooh, let's talk about that. So for the first time, I have a really strict money back guarantee. And the reason I did that is because I only want people that are really serious about getting results quickly. So I don't want those tire kickers in the program, because I've spent way too many hours giving you every single thing I know about webinars in this program. And so much of it is my personal business stuff, like my swipe file, my emails, my reg pages, my Facebook ad examples. So I give it all. So if you join Webinars That Convert, and if you do the work, so you actually do the webinar live, you promote it with Facebook ads, you sell something on your webinar, and you're not satisfied after you do the entire system, show me that you did the entire system. Within 60 days, I will refund. So I have a 60-day, usually it's a 30-day. I want to give you time to do all the work, but we do not offer a refund unless we see the slides, we see the Facebook ads, we see the sales results. And then if you're not satisfied, I'm more than happy to refund you. But I can get you results if you do the entire system. Great question. It says she gives it all. The slide decks are awesome too. Oh, that's another thing. Thank you for saying that. I would call your name out, but it's all sideways. So Zach, you and I really need to talk, friend. I need to fix this. But when you join Webinars That Convert, once you go to amyporterfield.com/WTC, once you sign up, let's say you do the $97 a month package, the next thing you're going to see is an opportunity for an upsell, which is 5 slide deck presentations in Keynote and PowerPoint that my own private designer created for you. So if you have ever been on one of my webinars and you liked how I did my slides, I give you those slides, and I give you the cool slides that I teach inside the program, like how to transition from content to selling. I give you a few slides to do that. How to have a timer in the final slide to do your Q&A. I teach you how to do that, and I have the slide deck in there. So it's really cool. I give you module slides and all that good stuff. So that's one thing that you can upsell to it in addition. Let's see here. Yeah, the slides were amazing. That's one of my most favorite things of the program. Ideas on how to respond when people ask for coaching. So, that happens to me a lot. I don't do one-on-one coaching, and when people ask for it, unfortunately, I just say that's not what I do in my business, and I try to offer some really great support in my private Facebook groups, but it's just something I don't do. Now, I feel like there's a lot of money you're leaving on the table if you don't do private coaching, if you're getting asked for it a lot. So either you think about maybe as an upsell to your program, offering 3 coaching sessions for, I'm making this up, but for $1,000. So after they buy your program, you could say, for $1,000, I'll give you 3 private one-on-one coaching sessions. I'm only offering 10 of these. Once they're gone, they're gone. And so that's like an upsell to your program. So you're offering it, but you're only offering it to 10 people. I really like the idea of upsells and something really premium and awesome for that. So okay, so we're going to wrap up. I just want to encourage you and I want to tell you that my program, the doors close on Monday, September 21st. And the Webinars That Convert program has absolutely been one of my favorite experiences. So for those of you that are on now and have joined, thank you so much for putting your trust in me. And for those of you on the fence, hopefully some of these questions have answered and have helped you decide if you are right for the program. I'd love to see you in there. So again, doors close on Monday. And also, before we wrap up, I would love to see what all of you are up to for the weekend. So post in the comments and tell me what you're doing this weekend. I just want to see kind of what everybody's up to. For me, we have a football game on Saturday. Cade, my son, is in Pop Warner football. So we've got a football game. And then other than that, we don't have big plans. So we're just going to have to think of something. So let's see here. Facebook ads, someone says. I think it's Jody says she's doing Facebook ads. Success Edge says they're working. Oh, but then the next person says they're resting, so I love that. Working on a course about Periscope. Awesome. Let's see here. Someone says they're in both Profit Lab and Webinars That Convert. There's a lot of Profit Lab members in Webinars That Convert. I see a lot of laundry, a lot of fun with kids, soccer games, my son's 6-month photos. Oh, that's really cute. A bunch of meetings, birthdays. I think you guys have some fun stuff planned this weekend. Thank you so very much for being a part of this. I'm honored that you're here and such great questions. I hope that I see you inside of Webinars That Convert, but if I don't, Good luck in all you do, and I'll see you on my next scope. Bye for now. You guys know me. I'm not too good at turning this off, but we'll